I've got to say something up front here. I couldn't get past the first stage of Downtown Nekketsu Koushinkyoku Soreyuke Daiundoukai. I think it's because the game was intended as a multiplayer affair. You and a bunch of friends get together and compete. And so when you play on your own, the AI is extra nasty. But that's why all of the footage in this video is going to be from the first race over and over again. There's actually a bit of a plot here. The Reiho Academy decides to hold a friendly competition among all the local schools to make up for the trouble that they caused during Downtown Nekketsu Monogatari. But it's a trap. They actually want to get revenge on Kunio for beating up everyone in their school. And so begins the most aggressive field day in high school history. When you start the game, you can pick which school you're playing as, but you only get the ending to the story if you play as Nekketsu High School. There are 4 events that everyone will take part in: a cross-country race, an obstacle course, a game where they're smashing a ball, and finally a fighting tournament. The cross-country race and obstacle course play mostly the same. Both are segmented races, but the cross-country race has sections where the screen scrolls a little bit. Now you might think that the way that you win the event is by coming in first. And to that I say, you fool! You absolute fool! Coming in first is worth 150 points. Being the first person out of a section of the race is worth 20 points. And there are 15 segments like that in the cross-country course. That alone is worth way more than being first across the finish line. You also get points for picking up weapons and hitting other players. And you lose points for getting beaten up, or if the screen scrolls so far ahead that you fall off the back side of it. And of course, getting knocked out during a race prevents you from scoring any more points. You can tell how many points you're gaining and losing by hitting select, but you can never see your actual point total. Before starting the cross-country race, you are given a few options. You can say how many rounds you want to run. This will have a large impact on your team's stamina. You can also set a time limit for the race, so people have to get to the end and can't just sit there beating on each other. But you really should just sit there beating on each other. And then for each round, you choose who's going to compete. Your team members have different stats and abilities that aren't really reflected here, plus they have a certain amount of stamina. Kunio is an all-arounder, but some team members might be better at swimming, or at beating people up, or even faster at running if you're some kind of weirdo who actually wants to compete. The controls are very similar to Downtown Nekketsu Monogatari, and that's actually a problem here. B attacks to your left and A attacks to your right, unless you're holding a weapon. Then, B throws the weapon away, and A swings the weapon in the direction you're facing. It's not the most logical of control schemes. Pressing A and B simultaneously will make you jump, and tapping twice in the same direction will make you dash. Naturally, all of the computer players dash instantly when they get on the screen, so if you enter a screen late, 3rd or 4th position, you're not going to be able to activate your dash and build up speed quick enough to avoid getting scrolled off the screen. And then there's the visual style of the course. Right here, for example, it looks like you could just jump off the edge of the roof, but you have to drop down and then jump up again. And these cracks look like background, but you trip over them. There's a lot of tripping hazards on the course that are hard to tell apart from just generic background graphics. Now, you'll repeat the competition enough that you'll learn what they do, but it's still a bit annoying when you're starting out. And speaking of starting out, it's possible to start beating up your competitors before you even leave the starting line, though you really only have a split second in which you can do it. You'll have to run the cross-country race multiple times. The minimum number of legs is 2, and you could set that as high as 9. At the end of that, whichever team has the most cumulative points among all the players wins. And if you're playing on your own, you have to come in first in order to go on to the next event. Now, I might have had challenges doing anything in Downtown Nekketsu Koushinkyoku, but it is a beloved game in Japan. There were a couple of ports at the time, and it's been remade multiple times. My own view is that I'd like to play this with somebody else. Probably with multiple other people. This feels like it would be a fun party game, but it is extremely difficult against computer opponents. I bet it would be a lot of fun 4-player, but by myself, not so much.